whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast, and of course, we are here with the Philly Sports Guy. We got Stat Guy and myself. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing well. Phillies won in walk-off fashion against the Rays, where they made it look like pitchers that had ERAs of 6+ look amazing all game long, and then Schwarber gets a home run, and then an amazing catch by Rojas in dead center field. And as the glove is coming down, hits the back wall, the ball falls out and is a home run.
Heartbreaker.
It was the looks on everybody. He was like, he caught the ball and then he sat there at the bottom. He's like, damn it.
I mean, if you were ever going to have a sad panda moment, that would be it. Because you're like, I'm the man. Maybe I'm not.
Trey Turner was just like, he's like, yeah, oh.
Yeah, right? Like the emotion switch in like a half a second. I mean, us Seahawk fans are all too familiar with that.
Right. And then you had the Cubs helping out you out last night by destroying the Dodgers.
That's always welcome. You know what I mean? Look at the Cubs, who have decided that they are going to try to figure out how to play baseball too late in the season.
Same thing last year.
Yeah.
But they're only like 5 games out. And listen, the Mets are really good at screwing stuff up.
And we have 7 games with the Athletics and the Nationals next week, plus 3 games against Colorado this weekend. So that's a nice 10-game stretch where we can maybe make a little bit of noise heading into that final week.
An 8-2 record could put you guys right back in the swing of things.
Because even if we lose the next 2 to the Dodgers, we still go. That's still 1-2, which isn't nothing. But then, if we can go 8-2 over those 10 games, we have the Phillies and the Reds to end out the year.
Yeah, the Phillies would be a tough one, obviously.
Yeah,
because we like to beat up the Cubs.
Yeah, it's that 8-game stretch. It's a 10-game stretch. So 3 at Colorado, then 3 at home against Oakland, and 4 at home against Washington. If they go 8-2 in that 10-game stretch, they can maybe make a little bit of noise.
So
my Mariners are not making any noise.
No, they're awfully quiet over there, aren't they?
It's a whimper into the night.
I mean, they're making noise. They're just free falling.
Yeah, no, it's at this point, they're 4.5 games out. There's roughly 18 games left, something like that.
18, 19, depending on the team. Yeah.
Yeah. So unless they really get on a heater, obviously they go head to head with the Astros for one of the series. So say they go on one, they take that series. We probably still end up a game short.
Well, I mean, you said you're 4.5 out right now.
Yeah, we're 4.5 out.
So realistically, you would have to go 14-4, 13-5, and hope the Astros basically go 8-10.
Yes. Yeah. And realistically, you'd want them to be just worse than that, because even if we sweep them through the series that we have with them, I think they still beat us with the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Overall. So we have to be a solid game ahead of them.
Yeah.
And
so
then
you have to go 14. You'd have to go 14-4, and that's going to be tough enough for Seattle to do that. But if you somehow go 14-4, then you still got to get a lot of help, because Houston's got to pretty much go down hard.
Yeah, I mean, they basically have to stop playing baseball. We have to be on one of the best, sections of baseball this year. Now, we do have, if I remember right, we have Houston, we have the Angels twice. So, I mean, it's possible, except the Angels are playing better baseball now because their season's over. So now there's no pressure. They can start playing baseball like normal teams. So I don't know. It's going to be one of those where it's like, you just missed yet again. Good job, Mariners.
But the Cubs are 5 games out of the wild card right now.
Yeah.
They're 4 games behind the Braves, who are 1 game out of the wild card. And, of course, right now the Mets are the ones who did beat the Blue Jays yesterday. See now, as we get close to our like Tampa Bay, I think that I think Tampa is like cashed it in.
Sure.
So I'm not as concerned about that. I feel like that we could probably take definitely 2 of 3, if not sweep them. Um, and we need to because we have to. I mean, I don't care about being the 1 or the 2 seed in the grand scheme of things, but we have to be the 1 or the 2 seed. We can't be the 3 seed. Now, at the moment, we are 3 games up, 3.5 games up on the Brewers for that 3rd seed. I don't care if we're 1 or 2 because the Phillies love, 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 love playing in LA.
Yeah.
For whatever reason it is, we love beating the smack out of the Dodgers. Everywhere else, there's no chance right now. I feel like that the Padres and the Diamondbacks, although they are like virtually tied, they got a half game away from each other because the Diamondbacks have a game in hand. But they are all 5.5 games back of the Dodgers. So the Dodgers are not going to lose the the division. They're going to win that division.
Yeah, no, of course.
And so it doesn't matter to me if we're the number 1 or the number 2 seed. I mean, of course, we'd love to have those home games for the NLCS if we were to do it, but I'll go back out to LA again. I loved it out there. I had a blast at that stadium. I would love to go back out there and just smack the Dodgers around left and right. Because that's what we do. We beat the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
there we go.
The Mariners actually made some ground as far as the wild card's concerned. They're only 3 games out of the wild card. So that means what the Twins and KC have.
Well, the Twins have been like having a bad spurt right now. They've lost 4 in a row. They're 3 of their last 10.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect because that puts Seattle, Detroit, and Boston all with the same record right now, 3 games out. So you're saying there's a chance.
Right.
Small one, but there is a chance.
Well, the good thing that you have about the Twins, looking at the Twins moving forward and who their schedule is, they got to play. They got 2 more games with the Angels. They got the Reds. Meh. They got the Guardians, who are fighting. It's a 4-game series with the Guardians. They got the Red Sox, who are going after the wild card spot. Then they got 3 games with the Marlins and then end with 3 games with the Orioles. So when you look at that schedule, that's a tough schedule for the Twins.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the thing is the Boston one, it doesn't matter who ends up winning that, isn't great for the Mariners. Like if there was a way for both of them to lose that series would be ideal.
Right. But then the Twins, who have the Yankees for 2 more games, the Pirates for 3, who've been pooping the bed, the Tigers for 3, who are going up against in the wild card as well, the Giants, who are out, and the Nationals, who are out, and then the Braves, they end with the Braves. At the Braves. They end with at the Nationals and at the Braves. So it's not the easiest, not the hardest out of the 3 of those in the wild card. Those are the guys and the Royals are 2.5 games up on the Twins. So the Twins are really the ones that you're going to have to go after. The Red Sox themselves have 2 more games with the Orioles, a 4-game set with the Yankees, 3-game set at the Rays, a 3-game set at the at home at the Twins, 3 games at Blue Jays, and then 3 games at home against the Rays. So the Rays beat the Red Sox on a consistent basis. For some reason or another, Tampa Bay likes beating up Boston. So that helps you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, the Yankees like beating up Boston, and they got a 4-game set in New York.
Yep.
So that's a good one. And like I said, they got 2 more games against the Orioles.
Which, also a very good team. So
now let's see who you guys got left.
So we have very winnable games.
You got 2 games against the Padres. Those are going to be tough ones.
Yeah,
4 games against the Rangers, who like to beat your guys' butts all the time.
true.
Then you got 3 games against the Yankees. Ouch, quit it.
Yeah, no, that one's going to be rough.
Then you got 3 games at the Rangers.
Yeah.
And then 3 games at the Astros.
Yep.
And then end at home with the Athletics. So if by chance you could go out of the 10.
So I had it wrong. I thought it was the Angels, but yeah, it's the Rangers.
Rangers 4, Yankees 3, Rangers 3, Astros 3, Athletics 3. So
Yeah.
this is all divisional games. If you could go to
They still have to be over 500 ball to even have a shot.
you got to
Yeah.
go 6-3 in the next 9. And that means you got to win 6 games against Padres and the Yankees. And you got that 4 game against the Rangers that, like I said, the Rangers, for whatever reason, just like beating you guys.
No. Like there's winnable games, but it's well, I mean, it's going to be tough no matter what because our bats don't make contact with the ball. So, I mean, unless they figure out how to hit today, which
Good luck with that.
I hope they do. I hope they do because a friend of ours, her bachelorette party is tonight at the Mariners game. So hopefully they get a win for them.
Oh, this is all the girls going out and drinking?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this is where you got to go pick up your wife.
We'll be there. Yep. So yeah, hopefully they can at least get that win tonight.
Well, yeah, we got to start it off with the W. You know what I mean? Like the Padres are a tough team,
Yes.
and they are fighting for the wild card spot themselves.
Yep.
Obviously, they're leading the wild card spot, so they got a game and a half up on the Mets for the bottom part, and then the Braves are they have 2.5 games up on the Braves. That's a lot closer in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So, and then the other interesting thing about the National League is obviously the Orioles are a game and a half back of the Yankees for the division, and that's going to be a fight to the end.
Yep.
So, do those 2 teams face each other?
I don't know if they have each other anymore. They might be done.
No, they do have a 3-game series. The Yankees play at home against the Orioles and then have a 3-game series with the Pirates.
So then that'll be basically the division then, because after that, then the Orioles get the Twins after that.
Right. So that's that weekend right there, or those first 3 games are going to be big to figure out who's going to win that division.
Yep.
And then you have the 3-game series, and I'll be honest with you, the Orioles got to do whatever they can to get in that number 1 spot. They got to get whatever they can to win that division. I don't care, because obviously, if the third place team is going to be whoever comes out of the West in the AL. The Astros right now, or the Mariners, whoever does that. Again, being the 1 or the 2 with Cleveland isn't the biggest deal. The bigger deal is the Orioles do not have the pitching to go up against a playoff team in a 3-game series. It's possible that they could lose that. That's why I think that they got to get number 1. They got to have the bats hot, and they got to go number 1 there, because the Yankees would absolutely dismantle the Astros.
Oh yeah.
Or the Mariners even.
Oh yeah. And whoever's coming out of the West is one and done.
Well, if they're playing the Yankees, I would say yes. If they're playing the Orioles, possibility no.
Well, that would be true for Houston. If it's the Mariners, because of the lack of batting, they're if they make it in, they're one and done.
But I disagree with that if they're playing the Orioles, because good pitching beats good hitting.
Good hitting, yep.
And you could win a game against the Orioles 3-2, 4-2. 2-1
That's
even.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's and those are the games that happen in wild card games.
Yep.
You have those weirdo games where it's like 2-0,
Because everybody's
2-1.
because everybody's all hands on deck. Where it doesn't matter if your starter goes 5 innings, 6 innings, 8 innings. You might go from Logan Gilbert to Luis Castillo to Brian Wu just because you have to win that game.
No, for sure. For sure. But, it's wild card, so it could also be 16-3.
Well, you're right. It could be, but I don't know. But there again, you guys are getting closer and closer. I mean, so if you guys were to overtake the Twins, I mean, you guys are only 3 games out.
Yeah,
All of a sudden, there. Well, so
the bottom half of that, the bottom side of that wild card race has gotten a lot tighter than it looked like it was going to be. So, fortunately for the Mariners, those teams have kind of taken a little bit of a slide. So it opens the door. I don't like.
Ever so slightly.
I mean, hey, I'll take that. But the worst part is you never want to back into the playoffs, right? Like that never says long-term success. But if you can get in, hey, if you can throw your hat in the ring, you always have a shot.
Exactly.
Hey, look at the Phillies 2 years ago. Look at the Diamondbacks last year.
No, exactly.
So, I mean, there's a lot that's going on there. And I had this a little wrong, thinking that the Yankees were going to play the Astros. That's not the case. If the Yankees did get the number 1 wild card, they would play the number 2 wild card. The number 3 wild card would play the division, which means that if you guys make it in on the wild card, you guys would wind up playing the Astros. And if there was a team that could beat the Astros in a playoff situation, there I would give the Mariners more of a fighting chance there.
Yeah, I mean, divisional, right? You can never count either team out.
Exactly.
Correct.
Know each other super well. You never know. That is definitely one of those coin flip type series.
So, I mean, keep battling. You got to keep hope alive.
The Yankees probably will beat your Pirates.
I mean, you can't say that. You can't say that if Paul Skeens pitches because Paul Skeens is just a friggin' beast.
Yes, agreed.
Like legitimately, that guy is a freak of nature.
We got a lot going on in the chat over here that we.
Yeah, there was a couple of different things here that the guy is talking about here. So I mean, as we go back here a little bit, obviously, hi Mom.
We'll say hi to everybody real quick. What's happening, Chad? All right, so I guess let's start with Brad here.
Brad, we're winning the World Series. I've said this multiple times. We're winning the World Series. End of story. Don't doubt it. I'm leading the parade. So when you see me in front of the parade, when you see me in front of the parade, you'll know that we won. I'll miss the show that day.
No, you won't. You can just put a GoPro on your head and do it right from the parade.
I might just do that. In fact,
that actually would be kind of amazing.
right from the front of the parade, just have it.
I would actually wear the body cam. I would wear the body cam. That's when
have it flip the other direction, so all we can see is all the people.
Exactly.
That's where you go and you rent one of the 360 cams.
Well, actually, it's funny that you say that because when I did the parasailing, they had a 360 cam, and I was like, "Wow, this cam is amazing." I may go get one. Like it was where he charged me $60 additional, $60 American additional to have the video for the 360.
Wow.
To have the video for the 360. And I absolutely was like, okay, yeah. Sure. When I saw it, I was like, yep, I gotta have it. You could have probably charged me an additional $100 and I probably would have had to buy it. You know what I mean?
Nice.
No, I mean, that makes sense. Those 360 cams are pretty amazing.
So and when I saw it, I was like, I'm considering this. And it makes me wonder, do the 360 cams also do one side? Can they also do?
Can't say as I've used one, so I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I'm going to find all that stuff out, actually.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, because I think that. But you're right. That would be because that at that point I would actually have it. I would have it in the mohawk.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? Like that would be the way to do that.
Yeah, oh,
The
absolutely.
mohawk, and I've been dying for the mohawk cam. I've been waiting for that where like I it would be like a pencil that I would stick in the mohawk that just sticks out of the front.
Sure.
If I could make that occur, that would be awesome. It's just they're not easy to come by.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, and the small cams, those are expensive.
yeah,
Very.
Yeah, absolutely.
we're working. Well, we work with what we got.
All right.
In the meantime,
so
who
we
is
got-
next?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess we can shift over a little bit to football here. We got Chris dropping in with the one of the cops was released from the takedown of Tyreek Hill before the game. So, I mean, obviously, what they did was not great, right? Like ripping him out of the car, taking him to the ground. But at the same time, rolling your super tinted windows back up is a good way to escalate a situation. Like, I had guns drawn on me because I accidentally rolled up one of my windows with limo tint, and I went to hit the button, and it was like the auto button, right? So the way I hit it, it rolled it back up, and it was tap tap with a gun in my face. So I mean, it's not like it was unique to Tyreek Hill there. Cops don't think it's funny when they can't see you.
No, I get that,
Not at all.
but the bigger deal was there was never any reason on why they were pulling him over.
Yeah, I never saw anything as far as that was concerned.
Yeah, never. Hey, you're speeding. Hey, your windows are too tinted.
Yep.
Hey, what are you doing in this lane? Hey, they never gave 4 police officers. Let
Yeah.
me tell you, one of them had to recognize it was Tyreek Hill.
Oh, there were, like, if you watch the body cam footage, you can hear people yelling that. That's Tyreek Hill. So, I mean, there's no way that someone didn't know. I mean, clearly somebody knew at some point. But, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the way that they handled it was wrong.
Not only that, you listen to the things that they were saying when I heard the body cam footage.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God! It was like, are you serious? Like you wanted to get fired. That was your firing moment.
Exactly.
Like it's like, I'm gonna act like I'm an asshole.
Yep.
Police officer. That's what that was. And listen, I'm not talking bad about police officers. Police officers have a very difficult job, so
No
I don't
question.
want to be that. But that, and I'm not a fan of of the Dolphins or Tyreek Hill, so I ain't backing him either. But this would be something. Imagine if it was not Tyreek Hill.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is like that could have got sideways real quick because they were immediately aggressive. And, like I said, they don't think it's funny when they can't see you. But at the same time, it's their job to de-escalate situations.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, it was like what Tyreek did didn't help the situation in any way. But what the cops did were wrong across the board.
So I don't know. I think, I mean, again, not knowing what Tyreek was like, take me to jail. Go ahead, take me to jail.
Yeah.
I double dog dare you.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
the guy's like saying, we're going to take you to jail. You think you're a smart ass? Well, we'll show you a smart ass. You know?
Well, and clearly he did, if one of them was already released from duties. So, I mean, maybe they wanted paid vacation, right? Because they always end up on administrative leave for like 6 months before anything actually happens.
Not this case. Not in this case.
Not this case, no.
Because they did
too
not.
many cameras.
They did way too many cameras. They never ever said what they pulled him over for. They never gave him his Miranda rights or anything like
Nope.
that. They immediately just threw him on the ground.
Exactly.
They took his arms and literally were bending him backwards. Like they initially started to try to break his arm, and then somebody fixed it so that he would bend the right way.
The funny thing is, The funny thing is, if they would have actually brought him to jail, they would have looked at the police officer like, what the hell are you doing? He's got a game in like an hour. Now you put him back in your cop car, and we will police escort him back.
No,
to the
no, no,
prison.
no, no. We're not going to put him back in your cop car. We're going to have to send the chief
Yeah,
or the sheriff.
like,
No question.
we will put him in. We will put him in this car. You can turn your happy lights on in your cop cars and give us the police escort back to the stadium.
Pretty much.
Interestingly enough, and I can't say this for certain or whatever, but when this does go to a trial, because I have to imagine that Mr. Hill is going to,
Press charges, no question.
I don't know if he's going to press charges. I think that this is going to be like a civil suit of sorts.
Well, that's what I mean by that.
Like
I
a
don't
defamation of character or some sort.
Yeah.
It's possible that a friend of mine could be the lawyer that he uses.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Okay.
I would have that would have very interesting because a good friend of mine is a prominent lawyer down there who does these types of cases, and he worked in the DA's office.
Okay.
And now he works on the other side.
Huh.
So
That's cool.
and he's prominent. Like, so it's not like I'm saying that he's going to get this job or whatever. There's a lot of different reasons. I'm sure this is not done yet, is what I'm getting at.
No, I believe. Yeah. No, I mean there's a lot of steps yet to come, but this is definitely going to be a problem. And yes, I agree. Everybody was wrong in this situation, and I mean there's things that Hill could have done that could have made this a smoother operation. But I mean, the cops were so overly aggressive even from the start that I don't know that there was really a scenario where this wouldn't have gone kind of sideways anyway. I mean, even if he was doing everything he was supposed to, it seemed like these cops had something they wanted to do today.
Well, yeah, I mean, the one cop was going up against him in his fantasy football, and just
No, that's right. He's
anything that I could throw him off, I'm going to.
Can't score points if you're in the back of my car. And yeah, I did see that he made fun of this in a touchdown celebration.
Yeah,
and you know damn well the NFL is not going to fine him for it either.
No, they're probably not, but that doesn't.
that's not true. That's actually not true. They will fine him for that, but it probably be minimal.
Yeah,
They'll be like, you had it coming, officer. Sorry.
Yeah, it's that's not the way the NFL does things.
Well, he didn't use any props or anything, so he might be all right on this one. But
Maybe.
In any event, I mean, what it does do is
it makes the Miami police force look very, very bad.
Well, not just that, but it could put him in some bad situations moving forward also. Because it's not like we're the only ones that saw that. That entire police force saw that. So if there's anybody on that force that's taken Hill's side, taking the cop's side, not to say that they're going to do any brutality stuff because they're not trying to get sued, but he might get some tickets because he drives cars they recognize.
Yeah, you're not going to do that right away though. Can't play that game right away.
Not immediately.
Yeah, it's because that's anything that you do right now is going to look like a retaliation for that one celebration. And I got to imagine he is do not touch right now.
Probably true.
So
at the same time, the Dolphins are probably like, we'll give you a driver just to try and not let this happen.
So really ridiculous, just completely ridiculous all the way around. Shame that it's like this because listen, police officers see it's not just in Miami that this got seen. This got seen everywhere.
Exactly.
So now everybody who's not Tyreek Hill and not an NFL player is going to believe that they have certain rights that they may not.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with this whole situation is that the Miami police force made things harder for police officers across the country right now because of how public profile this was. And like I said, police officers have a very difficult job. I have a numerous amount of friends that are police officers, and I respect everything that they do. This is not easy. So some of them are in Chester, Pennsylvania, which if you look up Chester, Pennsylvania, that is not a fun place to live.
Mm.
You know, and then to be the person who's kind of running, making sure that anybody remains safe over there is not simple. And now you've got something stupid like this occurring. This just creates more drama for police officers who don't need it.
No, I mean, their job is hard enough. And of course, just the way that the landscape is today, it's very anti-cop anyway. So, I mean, they definitely don't need situations like this to make things harder.
Right.
And the thing is too, Tyreek Hill is such an easy target because he hasn't been like the squeakiest clean person since he's come to the NFL. So he's an easy target. So when something like this happens, obviously the attention is going to go to Tyreek Hill because he's the best player the Dolphins have. But now it's like he's an easy target, so we'll find something to charge him with just because he's an easy target.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't make it better.
No, I'm not saying it makes it better at all. I'm just saying for in the cops' mind, whatever they stopped him for, one cop's probably thinking, well, he's an easy target. We'll just get him for something that he's done.
Yeah, but you don't do that. You can't do that in front of the stadium.
Exactly. That's why the cop didn't think it through.
Well, and you can't do it with a million like you have your body cams. You also have everybody that's around. I mean, there's so many camera angles of how this thing went down. Like, just absolutely idiotic.
So
that'd be like arresting Josh Gordon when he kept getting busted for marijuana and basically saying, we're going to pull you over to search your car because you probably have a joint in here somewhere.
Yeah, but at least then you had an excuse, right?
Yeah.
Like you could at least justify we saw a cloud come out the window. It smelled like weed. We thought it was them. You at least have reasonable suspicion at that point. But this, I mean, again, I didn't see anything on any of the camera angles that indicated a reason to pull Tyreek over.
Right. No, there wasn't really any good reason to pull Tyreek over. At least not that I know of. But
I mean, I'm sure that there's some BS statement that's about to come out. Because the precinct has to cover their basis a little bit, to at least otherwise they got to fire everybody that was there.
Yeah. They have to come out with a statement. Otherwise, Tyreek Hill can sue for whatever he wants to sue for. Now, if they come out with a statement, he can be like, well, I'm only going to sue those two officers versus if they don't come out with a statement, he's like, I'm going to sue the entire police force. Nobody's telling me why the hell you pulled me over.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, and he would be within his rights to do so and probably within his needs since he has like 10,000 kids and you can only play football so long. I mean, he has a kid for every 800 yards he's put up?
Basically, yeah. That's how he celebrates his 100th yard every game.
So this is something I did want to talk about. I guess we'll do on the second half since we're at the midway point. We got right here in the Pacific Northwest, True Fusion Gym. Use the QR code on the screen for a free 5-day pass. Bellevue, Ballard, University Village, Pilates, boot camp, yoga, bar, all of the hot rooms. Find your edge at True Fusion Gym. And okay, so Fields was starting over Wilson because Wilson had tightness in his calf. And, he's older. There's been a lot of Achilles tears, and that was probably more of a preventative maintenance thing to keep him off the field. But Wilson being unavailable, right, was still fully padded up, which is the most Russell Wilson thing to do. He was ineligible to play, but decided to go ahead and throw his shoulder pads and everything on. So, I mean, what are we doing?
Hey, and you know what? Did you hear him at the press conference? He forgot where he was, and he said, "All right, Broncos, let's ride." No, I'm kidding.
I mean, that would have been hilarious.
Hey, listen. But he, they won their first game. So can you really argue about it?
I think that's part of it too. Fields won the first game.
Yep.
You're going to reward him with another start.
No, I mean, you have
Granted, he didn't play well against the Falcons. Neither team looked great, but all that matters is it's 1-0 versus 0-1. He got the win. And they always say, like, anytime you have like a quarterback controversy, you ride the hot hand. And right now, Justin Fields got the win. You're going to ride him until you can't ride him.
No, for sure. How's it going, Hollywood? Yeah, no, I mean, if you get the win, you get the win, right? And, I mean, if it's a soft tissue injury of sorts and you got a guy that's winning games for you, even though it wasn't really on the offense at all, yeah, I mean, you let Wilson sit another week. I mean, why not? Speaking of teams that didn't look great, that would be my Seahawks.
They got to win.
That's how that segue happened. Despite the fact that they did not look great, they do get the win. Obviously, it's against a Broncos team that is not very good. But it was crazy in the first half. And why I say that is they almost gave up 3 safeties in the first half, which is crazy. I mean, they did give up 2, and they were about a half a yard from giving up a third. So it was just bizarre that even is a thing. And we sure will. But yeah, no, I mean, it was very strange how bad that offensive line looked, certainly in the first half. But the defense came to play, so that was encouraging to watch. It was a good thing it was against a Broncos team that isn't very good. You got, a rookie quarterback and a coach that hates his football team. So, it makes it easier to win that game. But there's a lot to clean up.
It was weird seeing Geno Smith look like Colin Kaepernick. He showed off some wheels on that touchdown run that I didn't think he had.
Well, I mean, he had to because the offensive line just wasn't doing their job, which is surprising because this is supposed to be a much improved unit.
So here's my other question, and I don't mean to switch it off from the Seahawks because
no, you're good.
I mean, really, why did Tyrod Taylor come in last night? I didn't get to see the second half of the game.
Because Aaron Rodgers was getting the ever-living shit kicked out of him. He did not look great apart from one drive, and when you're down by double digits to the 49ers with less than 6 minutes to go, at that point you're just packing it in.
Yeah.
Okay. That I wanted to make sure that it wasn't an injury.
No, it wasn't. It was actually to prevent an injury.
Yeah, he had the whole first half. He was very, very rusty. He was getting hit pretty good. He had one good drive in the third quarter, which led to a touchdown. But outside of that, you could tell that he hasn't played football in about a year. So that was just kind of like, well, we're down by 12 with 6.
And the interception wasn't his fault, actually.
No,
not at all. Not at all. It was a fantastic defensive play. One of the things that he was struggling with was he was putting 0 touch on balls. So he would be launching rockets at a guy that's 15 yards away. And I don't care how good your hand, like he made Garrett Wilson look like Kadarius Toney. And I mean, Wilson is a fantastic receiver. But I mean, if you're throwing it as hard as you can, that close, I mean, you're not going to get all of those. That would be like turning the jugs machine up full blast and then just standing in front of it, hoping for the best. Like,
but yeah, but that's. I mean, that's probably why Lazard got 2 touchdowns because they played together in Green Bay, did they not?
Yeah, they played together in Green Bay for like 5 years.
Yeah, so he's used to that. I mean, that's the way he plays. You know who else used to play that exact same way? Brett Favre.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
He it's like, hey, the ball's at you now.
Yes.
Catch it.
I think you're gonna see that a lot with Aaron Rodgers this year, especially knowing that he's 40, he's coming off that Achilles injury. Whether the Jets are up double digits late or down double digits late, I expect to see a lot of Tyrod Taylor in the fourth quarter. Just because if the Jets, they have another year, I think, on his contract after this year yet, they can't afford for him to go down again.
Yeah.
For an extended period of time. They need him to be healthy this year. They need him to be healthy next year. So any chance that they can get to sit him in that fourth quarter for Tyrod Taylor, I expect the Jets to do it.
Well, and it's not like Tyrod Taylor can't move the ball down the field. Like
no, he can, yeah.
So, so they didn't want to blame the loss on Rodgers. Let's be honest. you couldn't blame the loss on Rodgers anyway. That defense couldn't stop any runs up the middle.
And McCaffrey didn't even play.
Exactly. Well, and what was crazy about it is they gave up almost 150 yards between the tackles. That doesn't even include anybody running to the outside. That was literally just straight up the middle, in your face running. And that's the kind of stuff you're giving up. It gives you some real questions about that, this year's Jets defense. Are they as good as they were last year? Because that interior running game was just
they are missing a very big part of that run defense because he is in Japan. He's big in Japan over there, and he's trying to figure out when he wants to get a new deal.
I mean, true, but
they're also missing Bryce. They're also missing Huff too.
Like they needed more than one guy to fix what was happening to them last night.
Well, they're also missing Bryce Huff too, who went to Philly.
Right.
Bryce
That's
Huff
what I'm talking about. So there's two guys missing from that. Bryce Huff, who's a great run stopper. Not that he did a lot of run stopping against the Packers because they ran all over us too. But literally it was just it was
Hassan Reddick's the other one, right?
Hassan Reddick, correct.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick and Bryce. Yeah, Hassan Reddick and Bryce Huff. You put both of them in that game, it's a different game. I'm not saying the 49ers are going to lose, but the 49ers are not running the ball as successfully as they did last night if Bryce Huff and Hassan Reddick are in there.
Well, Bryce Huff is not going to be in there because he's in Philadelphia. But
I'm saying if they were, if they were, either one of them was there though, because you have that guy on the edge that can at least get to the outside and stop the run and at least kind of force the 49ers to do things a little bit different. But not having either one of those guys, they don't have a pass rush at this point because both of those guys were basically their pass rush last year. And then you only have one guy in the middle, and Quinnen Williams or whatever his name is, that if you can neutralize him, you have nobody else up front that can do anything.
Well, if this actually, if anything that happened from this game makes any sense to the Jets, they need to now sign and give him a new deal because obviously they can't do it without him. Yeah, this is what happened with the Chiefs was it last year?
Chris
I think it was last year.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Jones said, I'm not coming until you guys pay me. And
they lose to Detroit week 1. They're like, all right, here you go. Here's your money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the defense changed overnight.
Yep.
Yes.
Now, I don't know that he's going to have that same thing. Obviously, I don't know that he's that same type of player. But it would absolutely give you better chances, better odds.
Mm-hmm.
Because, let's face it, Purdy's not bad. He's not a bad quarterback.
No, he's actually very accurate.
So that being said, it's just but he likes to take his time a little bit. And if you get in there like a half a second faster than what he's doing, you're going to get sacks. They got to him a couple of times. Yesterday.
I will give him some props in the way that he'll let those guys collapse all the way into his lap to deliver the ball.
Yeah.
So, he is very patient, which is, that's good.
He's like one of those rare quarterbacks that goes through every single read before he gets rid of the ball, no matter how quick that pocket is collapsing. Like, he'll go through all of his reads before he throws it.
No, that's what I mean. Like, he can have defenders in his lap, and he'll still accept the fact that he's going to get rocked and deliver the ball. And, that's kind of a rare thing for quarterbacks today, just based on how many of them want to pull the ball down and run.
That was the way the Brett Favre used to play too. Brett Favre would just let you just basically be tearing his legs down before he'd release that ball, but he was going to go through all of his reads before he'd fire it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would throw it to the really far guy who was not really open, but
there was only 3 defenders. It's fine.
Exactly.
Oh, man. So, Chris, I didn't get to see Tom Brady's debut. I was at a wedding, so I got to lean on YouTube for this. How was that? I heard it was a little choppy to start.
All 3 of us didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
I saw some of it on YouTube this morning. He's very knowledgeable because he played as long as he played. He knows all the defensive packages and things like that. But he's very uncomfortable being on TV.
Oh, okay.
Like, he's obviously, when he's playing, it's one thing. When you have your post-game press conferences, it's one thing. You're not there for 3 hours. You're on the field for 3 hours, but you're playing a game, and then your post-game press conferences, you might be talking for 5, 6, 7 minutes, and then you're out of there. He's
Well,
very
you also
uncomfortable.
You also have your standard responses to everything. Anyway. So
Yeah, he's very uncomfortable being the center of, like, even like Kevin Burkhardt is a play-by-play announcer, and then obviously he's the color analyst. But when he's there, he's the center of attention for 3.5 hours, and he's very uncomfortable. You can tell he's very uncomfortable.
all right.
Let me go with. I'm going to talk about Paul's statement here.
Which one, Brazil?
The Brazil. So, Paul, actually, it wasn't a joke. It was that field is meant for soccer players, and soccer players use metal spikes.
Yep.
That's the difference. That's all the difference was. They use the exact same field that the Eagles do and that the Packers do. The difference is that the soil is tighter on air. So they didn't really consider that part. And ultimately that's why it was slippery, because they use metal spikes on that field all the time.
Yeah, metal tip spikes.
And that's what Brazilians were saying, that like you got to use the metal spikes. You can't use metal spikes in football. It's illegal. So you can't, even the longer spikes aren't long enough.
Yeah.
So it's not like that they can play golf kind of and use those types of spikes and such. It was a whole different scenario. So you're right. The NFL didn't really consider that much. They thought that it would be kind of very similar in terms of, okay, that they're using the same field. It was the reason why they chose this stadium to begin with.
Yeah.
Because that was it. That was what they were doing. And it also came out that the Packers were always the choice to play the Eagles.
Yeah.
It was never going to be Cleveland or anything like that, because the Packers are the team that mostly has has a thing in there. So the Eagles did this again specifically because we're going to be playing in Australia in 2 years.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, it's not a real thing, but that seems hilarious. There's no way they're trading for Daniel Jones. I would take Darnold over Daniel Jones.
Well, who was the one that's got the quarterback hurt already that they were talking about? Oh, the Packers. That's right. They were going to get Tannehill?
They call it Tannehill, yeah.
Really? I did not hear that.
They call it Tannehill Sunday.
Wow. So did Love end up with an ACL injury?
MCL. Sprained
MCL. He's
so he's done for 4 to 6 weeks.
3 to 4. Well, they said 3 to 4.
Okay.
Is what they said. But my thought is, and I brought this up yesterday, and Pigs kind of had one feeling on it. I had this other feeling on it. But Green Bay is kind of taking a more cautious approach. They expected Love to be put on IR this week.
Okay, so it's guaranteed
which basically keeps it. It's 4 to 6. It's guaranteed 4, but if you put him on IR, you can leave him out up to 6.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the minimum for the in-season IR is 4. So, all right.
They don't want to rush him back. They don't want to rush him back and risk him getting hurt even more.
No, I mean that makes sense. You just paid the guy. Right?
Yeah. And when you look at their first 4 games, they're probably not going to beat Indianapolis with Malik Willis, because Anthony Richardson actually looked pretty good against Houston on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can probably beat the Titans without Jordan Love, because the Titans aren't great. They can probably beat the Titans with Malik Willis. Minnesota, after that game suddenly changes, because I'm taking Sam Darnold over Malik Willis in that game.
Sure.
And then they have the Rams, and I think they have somebody else after that. So I could see them being 2 and 4.
Even if they got Tannehill, I wouldn't. I don't think that Tannehill at this stage in his career is better than Willis either.
No.
I mean, I don't even know why you'd go grab him, honestly, because I mean his arm looked dead in Tennessee.
With Jordan Love starting, they probably would have been 4 and 2 after their first 6 games. Because I see them losing at the Rams, and I saw them losing to Philly the first week. Without Jordan Love, they're probably going to be 2 and 4. So I mean, a 2-game swing, it is what it is. But even at 2 and 4, they're not going to be out of anything at that point.
No, they won't be out of anything. But they had an uphill battle in this division anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where I kind of get like, let the guy sit. You probably weren't winning your division. You were kind of wild card was sort of your best shot at getting into the postseason play. So if it was a gamble for you to get in anyway, yeah, I mean, you let the guy that you just paid, $55 million a year get right. Because the last thing you want to do is lose him for a season or more.
Right.
I mean, the only way that I could see him coming off after 4 weeks is if the Packers are 0-4. And at that point, they pretty much have to get in basically win-out mode at that point.
I mean, but do you bring him out of that, or you just say, hey, you know what, get right?
Honestly, knowing how much pressure the Packers have to win this year, they would probably be pulling him at 4.
Well, so that pressure changes if your top QB goes down. I mean, look at the Jets. Like if they would have had the year that they had last year and Rodgers was healthy, then, Saleh probably gets fired.
But Saleh's still on the hot seat this year.
Well, sure, but you can be on a hot seat, but you won't get fired because they're like, well, I mean, they were bad, but QB1 was gone. You can at least justify some of the excuses that come up. Whereas if you have your full complement of toys and you're like, oh, yeah, it turns out we're just terrible, then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, so it's probably a coaching issue. So if Love is down for a significant amount of time, everybody probably gets another year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Matt LaFleur, as good as he's been, his job is not as secure as people think.
Well, I don't think it's secure. Like if Love is there and they're bad, sure, there's a real chance you get fired. But if all of a sudden you're like, oh, we're in one of the tougher divisions this year, I have Malik Willis who couldn't beat out Mayonnaise Man. I mean, all of a sudden there's a little bit of pressure that comes off because it's like, okay, well, we didn't expect you to go light the world up with what it is you have.
Yeah.
Well, and then let me ask this question, as I see from Frankie down at the bottom. Is Dable job secure because of Daniel Jones being so bad and him not being his pick?
No.
Yes. I think he is. I think he is because his GM is the one that chose to ultimately sign Daniel Jones over Saquon. It was not Brian Dable's choice.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the thing is whether it's your choice or not, you're the one at the helm, and you got to find a way to win with what you got. And in this case, it's going to be multiple years of terrible, terrible play. So, especially,
I think the longer he sticks with Jones, that's what ultimately put his job in jeopardy. So let's just say Daniel Jones plays like shit for 2 more weeks, which 99% sure he's going to play like shit the next couple weeks.
I mean,
if Brian Daboll pulls the plug on Daniel Jones to go to Drew Lock before October, I could see his job being safe. But if he sticks with Daniel Jones into October and this kind of play continues, that's basically saying you're waving the white flag on the season and you really don't give a shit.
I mean, I don't know how you don't at least give Drew Lock a shot.
The contract. That's literally the reason.
Contract's nothing anymore because ultimately this was the end of his contract. There's
an out at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So I mean, so you don't have to entertain anything. I mean, you can try and see what you have. In fact, his job is probably more secure if he's like, hey, we got to make a switch, right? At least then it looks like you're attempting to mix things up and get wins. Because Daniel Jones has proven that he's not the guy. He had one good year that wasn't even really predicated on what he was doing. Had everything to do with Saquon having a great year. So, I mean, if he just sticks with Jones, now it could be like last year where he stuck with Jones till he got hurt because it looked like he wanted him to die. But it's like, oh, you've been sacked 10 times and we're down by 15 points. Cool. Get back.
The one comment that Frankie put in there, I was actually going to bring that up if you watch Hard Knocks at all.
Yeah.
The Giants owner was effing pissed
Sure.
when Saquon signed with the Eagles. And the episode that's going to air, it might be on there already. The Giants owner is basically sitting down with Brian Dable and sitting down with Joe Shane, who's the GM, basically said, well, Saquon's gone. What's our plan on offense? What's our identity? And the owner or the GM looks at the owner. He's like, we don't have one. And then the owner looks at the GM. He's like, that wasn't my question. My question was, what is your plan for our offensive identity? He's like, I'm not going to give a running back $40 million and pay him this amount per year, so I'm going to use that $40 million to invest in my offensive line. This is Daniel Jones' time. The owner just looks at him like, are you effing stupid? Like, you don't think Saquon's worth $14 million a year? You don't think Saquon's worth $14 million a year for 4 years?
Or $13 million, 12 and a half might have kept him.
Yeah, like he literally just said he's not going to pay a running back $40 million. I'm like, you could have signed him to a 4-year, $44 million deal and given him $11 million a year, and he still could have invested in your offensive line. But you basically said you wanted nothing to do with him, so now you literally told your boss you don't have an offensive identity.
And hold on, hey Saquon, give us the last chance to match your stuff, right? Right, you're going to do that for us. Thank you.
Which is why I think Brian Dable's job is going to be safe regardless. Because if you watch that Hard Knocks episode, Brian Dable's even looking at the GM when he says that, like, did you really just tell the GM we don't have an offensive identity? So, like, I think the GM would get fired.
You just told the owner.
I think the GM gets fired before Dable just because that GM is in way over his head right now.
Yeah, it feels more like this is one of those where the owner is like, you're fired and you're fired. Everybody's fired.
Well, I think that Brian Dable is actually, him taking the Giants to the playoffs prematurely helps him this year. Literally helps him this year.
Sure.
I think that that's part of what happens. Because listen, they don't make big changes up in New York.
Yeah.
They don't do it. They just they let things go a little bit. This is something they can't let go.
No.
And the fact that the whole NFL saw it.
Yes.
I mean, they're the laughing stock right now.
No question.
After week 1, everybody's looking and laughing at the Giants.
Yeah, no, there's no question, and we'll have to break this down a little bit more tomorrow. We're at the top of the hour. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. And yeah, tomorrow we'll have to talk a little more about this Giants debacle because, man, it's awesome.
They stink. See-you.
Right on. Enjoy your Tuesday, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.